Yo, 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 yo. What's going on? It's Terrell Hall of Fame, D-Line, TBKC, and all that sweet, beautiful, wonderful shit. Um, this video, it was a good question, and this video sort of goes into what a lot of people see nowadays, and they were wondering the possibilities or the probabilities of breeding your traditional American bully and breeding towards the bully genetics, which is basically selective breeding. Could that pull genetics that are somewhat bulldog type of genes? And we've, you know what I'm saying? We've went over this a couple times, you know what I mean? And excuse me if you hear the cartoon in the back, but we've actually talked about this several times. And it's very, very true that you can breed the American bully and the more traditional style American bully. Y'all know the dogs I'm talking about. And you can come up with some bulldog type of characteristics. Now, the thing with genetics is this, and one of the things that a lot of people tend to forget is that, you're talking about bull breeds. Even if you're talking about, Staffy or Pitbull, you're talking about bull breeds. So to consistently breed towards a certain line of genetics, you can't have the bulldog sort of present itself. It's much like we talked about with the Rottweiler. In my years of breeding with the Rottweiler, and I'm sure some of you have heard this story, but I did a breeding with my Rottweilers and produced giant Mastiff type dogs. And my Rottweilers were imports, or are imports, but this was my older Rottweilers. Imports come from long lines of very, very great dogs. But, when I called and I talked to the breeder, he said it's a Mastiff breed. He said sometimes you hit a breeding and they're going to produce dogs that are a lot larger than even we desire. And that's something that happens. You're pulling on the Mastiff genes. A lot of breedings were done to keep the size down, so to speak, to make the dog more athletic and not be so much of a lumbering breed. When you talk about a Rottweiler, you want a certain size because you want to still a certain athleticism. You do want big, but you don't want overly big because you increase the risk of injuries. They slow down. Their agility is not quite the same when they get to be too big. It's just not the same dog. When the American bully breed, it's the same thing, that if you breed towards a certain set of genetics, either way, you can go either direction. This breed is not that old. Sometimes we see two dogs that are very, very much American bully, and you breed them together and they produce a more terrier style of dog, and that's just what you pulled up on that. And what you do is you just take notes. You take notes that this certain breeding gave me more terrier type dogs. These two blood combinations gave me more terrier type dogs. Maybe it's the specific dogs that you use. They gave me more terrierish type of dogs. It's not the end of the world, but what you have to remember if you do decide to use any of those dogs going forward is, for one, to go a different direction and go back to bullying it up. And what you'll see is, and I said bullying it up, not building it up, but same difference. What you'll see is that sometimes you'll have a more terrier bitch, like Cairo's mother, Paddington, was very much so a terrier bitch. A little body on her, but she wasn't what you would think when you see Cairo. She had a very more terrier type head. She wasn't, I've seen her in person several times. She wasn't like what you would look for, but she had more body, but the head was very much so terrier. But, breeding her to the right male, you came up with a massive head and a dog that produced heads all the way down the line. But sometimes you would get that terrier. This is the whole point of selective breeding. We go through and we selectively pick out the dogs that carry the traits that we want them to carry, and we breed towards those traits. Now, sometimes you may go too far, and I've seen it, and that's the opposite end, where you breed two very, very bullyish American bully dogs, and they start to present you traits and characteristics that you don't want. That, like, super amount of wrinkles, the bone will get bigger, and you'll notice that it's certain things that you're like, this is like some bulldog shit coming up out of here. And you have to go back the other way. You have to clean it up with a dog that's, not necessarily less bully, just a different blood that's not pushing towards that bulldog gene. These dogs as a breed are not refined enough to hold their characteristics thoroughly. So we're still at an earlier part of breeding to where we definitely need to be cognizant of the fact that your blood can go either way if you're not consistent. Everything that we're doing right now in this breed, or we should be doing right now in this breed, is to provide consistency to the breed. The 9,000 looks and the constant mixing and those things, it would have to stop in order for us to actually make this a true breed. Right now, it's not a breed. And if you're going to do it in your program, you sort of have to, let's say, get with the program and decide which way you're going to breed. And if you're going for the true American Bully look, the more tighter skin Pitbull on steroid type of look, a healthy but very, very stout and athletic type of dog, or are you trying to push for a bulldog, And if you are, y'all know how I feel about that. You'll run into a lot of the problems that comes with trying to breed to the very, very extreme, very, very heavy, loose skin, whatever type of dogs. That's just not going to be what's best for our breed in particular. And there's nothing against bulldogs, and we use that word a lot loosely because there are some very nice bulldogs out of there. But in this breed, the dogs that look like bulldogs typically haven't been the most healthy dogs, and that's just fact. I'm not going to start naming them all, but the one thing about it is that, yeah, as we do it, more and more you're going to see that the best way to breed these dogs is to breed towards what the traditional standard is and really, really push for health. Your genetic testing and whatever else you're doing should be pushing towards health and should be pushing towards the standard. If you see a dog go one way or the other, it's up to you in your breeding program to either eliminate or breed towards correcting those issues. And the reason why you should be able to correct those issues, if you've been honest and breeding a certain way the whole time, you're not that far off track. So for instance, I've done a couple breedings where the dogs have come out very, very terrier, and not so many where it has went towards a bulldog type of thing, but I've done some where it went very, very terrier. Now, I don't totally scrap them because they have great qualities, and I know it's in them to produce the type of bully that I like, and I'm only one breeding off. So I reroute it a little bit, and I try to look over the pedigrees and get an understanding of why exactly that this breeding might have went terrier. And then I, go and selectively pick the right male, if I, male or female, to take to those dogs to reroute that situation and bring it back to where it was supposed to be at. But you still have to keep it in your mind that a generation back, the dogs did go back a little bit. And this happened a lot when we were building the breed up. That's why if you look back, you see a lot of the more popular dogs from the older breedings. You don't see their siblings as much because during the process, what would happen is that you would have 7-8 puppy litter. It would only be 1 or 2 dogs that would really qualify as American Bullies. The other ones would be more like UKC style pit bulls, or some of them would even come out looking like game dogs sometimes, and it was just something that you had to work with and you had to fix up. But you can go either way. I've seen people who've had 2 very clean American Bullies that had the look and the structure and everything, Pitbull on steroid type of dogs, and they bred them together. And for whatever the reason being, they pulled hard towards a bulldog gene, or sometimes we say bulldog gene, but they pulled hard towards a dwarfism gene that gave them a bulldog features, So whatever the case may be, it's all about correcting it and pushing forward and making sure that you are at least being responsible for what you're breeding. If you can do that, you can correct the problem. But yes, these things can pull one way or the other, just like with all breeds. You can pull different things out of them that you don't like. And that's the hard part about being a breeder, having the patience and having the discipline to stick to the script and do whatever it is that you need to do to correct whatever needs to be corrected. Until next time, y'all, much love. Peace.